Hey, welcome back. It's JackPigPro here. Today we will be creating a platformer game, but it's not just a normal platformer tutorial. There will be 5 parts to this. This will be the code where we'll do all the code for the platformer. Next time we'll work on the graphics and I'll teach you how to use Scratch and other places to create the graphics for your game. Then we'll create a menu. We'll add features to the game like shops and cool platformers. And then we'll finish it up and boom, you'll have an amazing game. So let's just, first gotta say hi to Game Cloud, Okay, now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna create a project and we'll just call it Platformer Game Part 1. Okay, so we're gonna create 2 sprites, player, and then ground. And we're gonna get rid of this. Can do one thing, we'll do it. We'll just create that player and then call this level 1. Okay, so we're gonna, it doesn't really matter what color you use. You can just start off with this for the base. Because this is not the graphics, this is just gonna be the code. So then you can go over here, do 0, 0. Okay, and then you can click that, alright, and then it's a little bit too low, so I'm just gonna raise it up a bit. Maybe that's too much. Okay, it's perfect. And we're gonna go to player. We're just gonna create a nice little square. Doesn't have to be anything right now. We're gonna make it a little darker so it doesn't blend in with that. We'll make it a little smaller and put it in the middle. And then, so that is the 2 sprites you're gonna need. So for variables, we're gonna create 3 variables for this sprite. We're gonna call it X. This can be for this sprite only. We're gonna do Y, this can also be for this sprite only, and then we'll do level, and that can be for all sprites. Okay. So because this is just the first part in the series, there will be a menu in the future, and we can, when the play button is hit, we can start the game. So instead of adding a play button right now, we're just gonna do one flag clicked start game. But first we'll do hide just to really show you what it would look like at the beginning. So, and then we'll just do start game. So when you start game, you're gonna show, you're gonna set size to 100 to clear graphic effects, and then go to front layer. So all the normal things you do. Okay, so once you do that, you're gonna, then you're gonna wanna create a block that says forever. But first you're gonna wanna set your character to the starting position you want it to be at. So usually it's around negative 185x and then maybe like 50. So let's just see where that goes. So yeah, that's maybe a little too high. We'll just do 0. Okay, so that'll be good. Then we're gonna want to set our level to 1, set our x to 0, and then set our y to 0. And then we're gonna want to point it in direction 90, but we can add that up here with all that. Look how color coded it is. Purple, blue, orange. Okay, anyway, so once you have that, you're gonna wanna change your y variable by -1 because you obviously want it to fall down to the bottom, right? And then you're gonna do if key left arrow. Let's just find left arrow real quick. Where did left arrow go? Oh, key. Okay. Key left arrow. And then we can also bring out the OR block. So this is what I'm gonna be, okay, so hold up, we'll worry about that later. Okay. So this is just the basic movement, right? So this is for computer, not mobile. If you want mobile, then you're gonna bring down another OR block. And I suggest you do OR block because it just helps. So you're gonna do mouse down, and you're gonna bring out an and. Oh, not an OR, greater sign. And you're gonna bring out mouse X because this is the X, and then you're gonna do the X position. So if X position is greater than mouse X and mouse is down, then you will have it move the X by negative. So you can change the X by negative 0.8. This should be a good velocity. You can change it if you want to. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, but yeah. And then you can just duplicate this and then change this to right arrow. Make this a positive 0.8. Oop, that's 0.9. Then you can do D instead of A. And then over here, what you want to do, you want to make the mouse X greater than the X position, like that. So after you have those two, you're going to want to set the X to X times X times 0.8. You can also do it by 0.9. It doesn't really matter. They're basically both the same things. It's just another thing to measure the velocity. And then you're going to want to change the X by your X variable. Okay, we can duplicate that. Okay, once you do that, now we're going to do the if touching ground. So you can pull out an if block, then you can do touching and then touching ground. And so once you do the touching ground, you're going to want to change the Y by -1. So once you do that one time, we're going to do that 4 more times. So there will be 5 grounds in total. So you're just going to want to put it in the other if blocks. Actually, no, you wouldn't want to do that. Just put it outside the other if blocks. So then you can do 5 of those, right? And then for the last one, instead of change Y by -1, you're going to change it by -4. And you're going to do change X by X times -1. So after you do that, you're going to do if the up arrow. So you're gonna put it in the last ground. You're gonna do if key. So we can just take this from down there and change right arrow to up. Change the D to the W. W for win. And then you're gonna go over here and change that, and then you're gonna want to do mouse Y and Y position. So if mouse Y is greater than Y position, then you can set the Y value to 10. And then this next part right underneath, this is going to be for the like wall hops. So if you want wall hops, this is what you can do. So we're going to do an equal sign. We're going to put the X to the equal sign. And then we're going to bring out the abs of. So if abs of X equals X, and abs is just the absolute value. So if absolute value of X equals X, then you're going to set X to -5. And if the absolute value of X doesn't equal X, you can just change it to 5. So once you do that, right underneath, so actually, we're going to make this an if-then statement. That's my fault. So we'll change that out for if. So if up arrow, and then we'll have that. So if not up arrow is what it's saying. You're just going to want to set the X to 0. So once you do that, we'll move down, and then we'll change the Y by Y. So what this is doing, right, is as you see the character just went up. Look, it's just going up right there. We're going to change it by Y. So now it's fallen all the way to the ground. And we're going to do if touching ground. We can just bring this one down from here. We're going to do if touching ground, change Y by 0 minus y. So once you do that, obviously it flings back up, but then you're gonna wanna set the y to 1. So then it falls back down like that. So you can move like this, right? So then we have to actually hook in the jumping. So we'll do, right below it, we'll do change y by -1. So it actually lands right on it. And then we'll do if jumping, so we'll bring this down from here. We'll just use that same code. And it's not an if then block, so we'll just use an if block. So if all this that we did up there is done, then we will change the y by 15. Actually, we'll set the y to 15. And then if you're doing a trampoline, you'd say if touching trampoline, then set y to 15, else set y to 12. But we'll work on the trampolines in another one of the tutorials for the extra features. So now that you've done that, you'll want to change the y back by 1 because it's down there. So we can just click play and boom, bounce down. You can jump. Just jump in a bit high, I would say. And then you're gonna want to do if y position. Let's find y position. If y position is less than, okay, I'll make this easier. If y position is greater than 180, we'll just set the y to 0, but we'll set the variable y to 0. Okay, so we're gonna add, so right before it was like this, right? There was the if up arrow, and then we're gonna add a if touching block right around the up arrow. So now it won't do like the Flappy Bird kind of thing. Maybe I'll do a Flappy Bird tutorial in the future, but this is the platformer tutorial. So, and then one more thing, when you go back up here, instead of a -1, change all these to 1, which I already did. I just realized I made that mistake. So once it's like that, you have your movement and it's working nice. Your X and Y is working nice. So, but you can see it's a little bit above there, right? There's a little bit of gap right there. So when you go down, you're gonna wanna add one more change minus, and then that should do the trick, right? Okay, so look, it's perfectly lined up right there, and it looks super smooth. So, as you can see, we'll do this. So, we can add an if statement and another if statement. We can say, if y position, if -160 is greater than y position, so that means if the character is below -160, then we can broadcast. Well, no, actually, we'll just make a block. We can say die, and then we can run that without screen refresh. So we can add the die block in here, and when we die, we can just move it up here. We can put all these things back, and maybe we can have a death animation, but we can add that in the more future. So for now, we'll just do this, and we'll set all this stuff to that. Actually, we'll do that. So now when you die, you go back to then. So then we can say, if the X position is greater than 240, which basically means if the platform character is all the way over there, we can make a block called next level. We can run that without screen refresh. So you can write next level, and then we can move the next level block up here, and we can say, okay. So the reason we're going to be doing this is for later, if we want die, we can add a death counter, and then, so for here, it's going to be the same thing as the die, but instead, we're going to go to variables, and we're going to change the level by 1 and broadcast next level. So when broadcast next level, you can have the ground. You can just do, we'll add this stuff here. We can do start game, and then we can do next level. Okay. So after that, we're gonna add these 3 blocks here, and we're gonna do when flag clicked, hide, when start game, show, and it's already being set to 0, 0, but we can just send it back to 0, 0. And then you can switch costume to level 1, and then when I receive next, you can switch the costume to next costume. So we can test this by making maybe 3 levels. So maybe this level will have, we'll have this little stud thing right here. And let's just make that the color of this. And then on this one, maybe we want like a little staircase kind of thing. So we can do that. So now when we click play, it's gonna go to this level. As you can see, the level is 1. And then we can hide the player X and the player Y if we want, but I'm gonna keep that there so we can check. So for this level, actually, maybe we can do something like this. That just fell through because it's like that. We'll just play it so it works now. So look, now when we do this, we're gonna die, right? Because we fell beneath the Y. So this jump is pretty slow right now because my character's a bit slow, but we can change that by doing, we can just do negative 0.9 and then 0.9. And then we can also change this to 0.9. So now it's a bit too fast. So we can change this back to 0.8, back to negative 0.8. Let's see how that works. Okay, that works nice. So we can do that. And as you see, you can die there. So once you do that, we moved on to the next level. So as you can see, that worked. So now we're on to level 2 right here. And you can wall jump, and you can also adjust the way you want to wall jump. So this is like a little wall jump, but if you go back to player, you can change this to maybe -7 and 7 if you want some more wall jump like that. So we'll put this back to -5 and 5 for the wall jump. So that's looking good, right? You have all this stuff. But when you hold the right key against that, as you can see, it moves it down. So the reason this is doing it is because we have this -1 right here. That when you do this, it just does -1. So watch. If you were to do this, and then here, let's get back to that level. We can do it on this one. It's like perfectly goes, right? And then over here, you do that. And then when you hold down, nothing happens, right? And let's try over here too. Nothing happens. And it's perfectly lined up now when you jump. Except, never mind, no it's not. So this is when, if you want, so a lot of platformers you can see have this. They have this one more thing right here. And it's like, it's basically what it is. It's the exact same thing, but then you change it by 2 to make it look, or change it by 1 or 2 to make it look like it's actually there. And then you can set it to the exact same thing. So when you watch now, it looks like it's perfectly lined up, right? But really, it's just the ground that's perfectly lined up. So this should perfectly work now for the code. Okay? And then we can change this to ground decoy. And what decoy is, so in this term, it's kind of like the decoration, but it's also like a trick because like this is not actually the ground, it's just kind of what it looks like. Okay, so once you do all of that, we're gonna add one more sprite for today. We're gonna call it danger. So this danger could be anything you want, but for now, we can just make it like a spike kind of thing. We'll just make it real red. You can do some quick, it won't be exact. We can just change that. Now it's kind of like a spike. Just set that right there. Set that right there. And then you can change this to level 1. And then, so this basically is the same thing as this. When you receive it next level, it's gonna go to next costume. And when start game, you're gonna show and switch to level 1. So once you have that, you can do that, and it's called danger, right? But then for this one, you want it to hide behind that. So you can say, go to back layer. So once we do that, it will have gone to back layer. Okay, so we can set the X and the Y to 0 over here, and then we can just kind of fix that. Now we can do maybe another one, so we'll get to that level real quick. But right now it doesn't do anything because we haven't hooked it up. Maybe we can add one right here and right here. Okay, so when you click play, obviously it doesn't do anything right now. Then you're gonna go down here to your code. You're gonna do where it says -160 over a Y position, you're gonna do or touching danger, and you're gonna add that to this, and then it's gonna broadcast die. So watch, if you do that, then you die instantly. And then so we can add a death counter later, but for now, that's all. We have the spikes, the platforms, all that good code. So that's it for part 1 of this platformer game. Next time, we will add the graphics, the background, all that kind of stuff, and I'll teach you how to make a nice, good character, a nice, good ground in the Scratch art. See ya!